recognize the ranking member.
Thank you. Building off of the chairman's comments, I think setting a specific date on it isn't really the point at this point. I mean, China could do it right now. They have the capability. They're jockeying for a position, trying to figure out how to maximize their chances for success. We obviously need to be prepared to deter that. I do worry about the inevitability comments because these words get played up in China, and then China's like, well, the U.S. is coming for us, so we may as well go for them. I think we need to be careful about that particular language. But building off of what can be done to deter, Dr. Sisson, you mentioned the need to disperse and make our forces more mobile, and that's been a big piece of analysis of what we're doing there. I've seen the analysis. What's your assessment, both of your assessments, about how we're doing on making us less of a target initially in that way, and what do you think we need to do to get there more quickly?
I think that we're making good progress. Where I look for those advances starts with the concepts of operations, what it is the services understand that it is they need to be doing, followed then by the investments and the capabilities they need to implement and execute on those plans. So I think the Marine Corps is a good example of the kinds of changes that we're seeing that are moving in the right direction. And I think that that is having a positive effect, and we're starting to see that move through the department a little bit more broadly. We need to be thinking about resilience. We need to be thinking about how we're working with AI-enabled capabilities and autonomy, including in surveillance and getting information right up to what we call the tactical edge. And I see the department working in those directions very much.
Thank you, Admiral.
Thanks, sir. I think that, among other things, we need to understand more fully the PRC, the Chinese surveillance capabilities and systems. Shooting down that drone and then recovering the parts over the Atlantic, I think, is very helpful in that regard. General Van Herk, the NORAD Northcom commander, spoke yesterday about what he called a domain gap in his ability to understand the China's balloons that they've sent forward across the United States over the past several years. So that ought to concern all of us, and so I think getting these parts of this balloon together and understanding their surveillance will help. It's hard to disperse a fixed airfield, and I'm speaking a little parochially since I'm from the Navy, and that's why development of aircraft carriers is so important. I think that Dr. Sisson is spot on when she talks about Dave Berger's moves to bring the U.S. Marine Corps into the 21st century. I support what he's doing, and I'm excited by where he's going with that. So those are some of the things that we could be doing, and we are doing, to address the threat from the PRC.
And what about our partners in the region? Japan, in particular, has really stepped up. I think they now recognize the threat from China, Australia to some extent as well. What role do you see our partners in the region playing in deterring China's aggression towards Taiwan and, frankly, aggression towards many of the other neighbors, as the chairman outlined?
Yeah, well, I'll start. I think that America's greatest asymmetric capability, our greatest asymmetric strength, is our alliances and partnerships, our whole network across the globe. Japan, as you mentioned, sir, they have clearly stepped up to the plate. Before the late Abe Shinzo was assassinated, he was leading that, and I'm happy and pleased to see that Foreign Minister Kishida Fumio has followed in his footsteps. They recognize that they are in a precarious position vis-a-vis China. I think South Korea is an important ally. They realize it as well, as does Australia, especially Australia. I mean, it was Peter Dutton, the former Minister of Defense down there, who said, of course we would defend Taiwan with the United States. That's a powerful statement for a country to make when you're talking about armed conflict with the PRC over Taiwan. He made that comment about 2 years ago. So I think that we cannot do it alone. We rely heavily on our allies, and that is our greatest asymmetric strength.
Thank you. I'm about out of time, so I will yield back. Thank you.
Chair, now recognize the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Wilson.